Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you get yourself over to jerichogreen.net. And like I said in my last video, once a week I will have an exclusive video only on my website. And I dropped one yesterday, a topic I'm not going to discuss on YouTube. So if you want to see it, get over to jerichogreen.net, get that monthly sub, and it's yours. Now, folks, the world is literally becoming unhinged. Supply chains are breaking down and critical shortages are showing up left and right. People can sense that the other shoe is about to drop. They're ordering emergency food like crazy, which means you should too before you can't get any. I'm talking about the high quality emergency food you get from My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's leading preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families. Now, they want to help you by giving you $100 off their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. And the meals in this food kit average over 2,000 calories per day. So don't wait. Go to preparewithjericho.com and claim your 3-month emergency food kit while you still can. You'll save $100 per kit if you act now. That's preparewithjericho.com. There continues to be a surge of orders. Make sure yours is one of them. That's preparewithjericho.com. So like I just mentioned in this promo here where it says supply chains are breaking down. We all know, we've all probably seen empty shelves in stores from, I know I have, from this supply chain breakdown that the leader of the Department of Transportation was kind enough to be on paternity leave during all this. Thank you for not changing your schedule at all for us pesky American people. So, last I heard, there were over 200 ships out there in the harbor, just hanging out, kicking it, getting rust. And there's a bunch of different reasons you hear about this, maybe some that I haven't heard of, but no longshoremen to take the merchandise off of the ships. There are no trucks to drive the merchandise to their locations once they're off of the ships, things with the union. But here's one thing I know for sure. So 2 years ago, I did a video about it in California, because when I tell you this, people, I mean this shit. California will not be out stupided by anybody. We will not be out commied by anybody. And another thing I always say that I also mean just as much is California is the petri dish. What happens here is coming to a theater near you. So 2 years ago, California and our stupid ass governor, Gavin Bang Your Wife Newsom, signed into law AB 5, Assembly Bill 5. And in this bill, what it did was, when it was signed into law, it changed the status of private contractors. So let's say you're an Uber driver. And what appeals to people about Uber, Lyft, whatever, things of that nature, independent contracting, is that word independent. You're the boss. You say what happens when, where it goes, what time, when you take breaks, who pays for what. You are in charge. So if you are a government, you do not want people who are in charge of themselves and their livelihood. You can't have that. So with that AB 5, now that's the case. So now, instead of being an independent contractor, now you fall under the rules of employers and employees. Timesheets, overtime, insurance, all that shit, all that freedom you had of being an independent contractor, turning on your Lyft app, driving for however long you want, stopping when you want. I don't want to. I think I want to make some more money. I'm going to skip my meal. I'm going to drive for another couple hours before I stop to get something to eat. I'm going to work as many hours as I want. Freedom in all of its forms are detrimental to our government. Why we let them get more power, why there are dumbasses in our society that want to give them more power, is beyond me. Freedom is, you ever see somebody get poison oak? That's what freedom is to our government. It makes them itch, it makes them inflamed and uncomfortable, and they don't like it. So, also another part to this, I'm getting to something. So there's that part of it. Another part is in California, there's a law where big trucks have to have these aluminum. This is just an example of the lunacy of California. They have to have these pieces of sheet metal that pretty much run the length of the trailer. And the sheet metal is in between the wheels. So what it does is it's supposed to make the trucks more aerodynamic. They burn less fuel, and it's better for the environment, man. Except it's a California thing. And when you see other trucks driving through here and they're out of state, they don't have those things. So then what's the point? Now, if you only had California compliant trucks driving within the borders of California, that might make some sense. Maybe it would still be stupid, but it might make more sense. But when you have, I'm guessing, millions of trucks from other states crossing the border in and out of California, it's kind of stupid. But because of that AB5, since they changed the landscape of being an independent contractor, there are truck drivers who don't want to partake in that. They like being independent. They like driving when and whatever they want. They don't want to have to be treated as an employee, so they're not more likely to buy their own trucks. And in California, I believe it's 2035, all big rigs have to be electric. Well, they don't have the trucks yet. So these guys are kind of iffy about buying a new truck, knowing that if they do in 2035, that shit's going to be outlawed because you want only electric 18-wheelers driving in California. Now, one of you other 49 states, please take California's balls and hold on to them, because we're going to have a bunch of 18-wheelers here that sound like Jetson vehicles. Anyway, that's what I want to say about the supply chain. Now, let's get to the meat of it, shall we? In my last video, I asked a question, and I'll ask it again in this video. What the fuck is wrong with Biden's hands? I saw, shout out to Dumbass Photoshop on Instagram. This dude had, it was a picture. Oh, let me tell you what I'm talking about first. So the other day, Biden had a town hall. I don't know why he would do that to himself, and I don't know why he would do that to us. But he had a town hall, and I believe it was in Baltimore, with Anderson Cooper, that turd over there at CNN, the only evil white man that Donna Lamone, that greasy-lipped bitch, feels safe around. And while Anderson Cooper is asking him questions, and I want to get to one of the questions he asked him in a second, because his answer was real fucked up and scary, but he was asking him questions, and he was standing there. If you can imagine, you're at the top of a ski slope, and you're standing there with your poles in the snow waiting to go down the slope. Like your arms, you make a fist and put your arms out at a 90-degree angle. Both hands out in front, rock'em sock'em style. So his hands are out in front of him, both arms, his fists clenched, and his arms are sticking out in front of him, and he's just standing there looking with this scared, confused look on his face, like it looks like he's looking at something terrifying that's behind us. He's looking at us, and he sees something scary behind us. Just, hey, this isn't the mall. You promised to drop me off at the mall by the Orange Julius. They still have Orange Julius? But that's what he looks like. Like his hands, his arms are locked. Now, you know damn good and well, if the bad orange guy, if that would have happened to him at a town hall, all you'd hear about is his mental capacity, his mental ability, his cognitive function, his mental faculties, the 25th Amendment. They'd have all these quack-ass doctors that are on their payroll talking about, well, in my studies, in my experience, I think the president is suffering from whatever the fuck, right? But with this guy, with their boy, they're silent as a dead church mouse. They ain't saying shit. And I was in the comment section. Shout out to whoever put this. And I don't remember your name, and I apologize, but you know who you are. They said it was something called pill rolling. And I looked it up. It's a medical term, and it's called called a pill rolling tremor. And it's most commonly found in people with Parkinson's, and it usually happens when they're in a relaxed state, like standing still or sitting down. And what it is, they call it that because it looks like the person is rolling something between their thumb and their index finger, like a pill or something small. And that's the same stance that he had on stage. Now, whether or not this man is suffering from Parkinson's, I don't know. But he's suffering from something. And because he's suffering from something, we're suffering. If that makes sense. Something is going on with this old senile fool. But the internet is so funny about this shit they've been saying. Like I was going to say, the dude from at Dumbass Photoshop, he had a picture of Biden standing. He was in an ice cream truck, and it looked like he was holding two tall ass ice cream cones in his hand. I was saying that he looks like Super Dave Osborne. Remember that dude? He had that jetpack, and his arms would be like out in front of him, and he'd be holding on to the handles, and he hit the button, and his jetpack would take off. You know, at this point, I'd rather have Super Dave Osborne as president, because he definitely couldn't do worse. Our shelves would not be bare, and our docks wouldn't be backed up, I'm guessing, if we had Super Dave Osborne or any other human being in that position, except for Kamala, the Ugandan nightmare, or Nancy Pelosi, that liver-spotted demon. But, so Anderson Cooper, that dirty little turd, asked him a question. And he asked him, do you think that cops and first responders, firemen, EMTs, and the like should be suspended, should be asked to stay home or let go if they don't get the poke? And what did that child sniffing, sentence forgetting, can't pull out of Afghanistan to save his life, empty shelf having, gotta read my binder so they highlight the names of the reporters I can call on for questions if he's allowed to take questions? This fool, when he asked him, should cops and EMTs and emergency workers be suspended or stay home or be let go, he said yes and yes. So the president of the United States believes that if you don't take this experimental jab in your arm or wherever they stick it, you should be fired. EMTs, those are the ones that are riding in the ambulances that show up quick, fast, and in a damn hurry when you call them. The police, who also show up when you call them. I don't give a damn who you are. Even if you're one of these far left defund the police pieces of shit who, if something happens, you're the first one to dial 911. Those police are going to be there. Remember that video where that stupid ass was up in Oregon somewhere in one of their autonomous zones, and this jackass threw a Molotov cocktail, or he dropped it or something, and his feet caught on fire. And the very police he was there to fuck with came over and put his stupid ass out. Now, I only wish they would have put him out with piss. That would have been better than taking a rag or, making him roll around on the ground. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and we're going to piss on you. But those same police even saved his punk ass. You've heard the stories. Lil Wayne tells a story about how these black cops were jumping over his almost dead body, but a white cop stopped, picked him up, and saved his life. Those sorry-ass cops in Chicago, the ones who took Jocelyn Adams' little bullet-riddled body to the hospital in the back of their patrol car because the ambulance wasn't gonna make it. Those people. The firemen who come into your smoke-filled house to save your life, to save your pets, your property, to get out their tools. These fires, the Salinas River fire we had last summer, I saw footage of that shit. It was like, up on the ridge where these men are working, not from down on the road where we just see the plumes of smoke. On the front lines, it looked like a hurricane filled with fire and dirt, swirling around these men and women, and they're hacking away, trying to make a fire line to save your goats and sheep and your toys in your driveway. Those people. He said he thinks those people should be fired if they don't take the poke. Our president said that. People, bend over, grab your ankles, and pray that they use lubrication because we are fucked. Is this going to be, are we, people in my age group, when we become grandparents or we were in that grandparent age group, are we going to be telling the kids, our grandkids, about the times when we had food on the shelves? Grandpa, tell us about Costco again. Oh, Costco. Well, kids, Costco was this giant store, and it had everything: furniture, entertainment, TVs, food. Not just food, but it had huge food. Everything was by the bucket and by the pound. Large, huge buckets, child-sized buckets of laundry detergent and paper towels as tall as you are, and food, 50-pound bags of whatever you want, frozen items, fresh food, stacked as high as 50 men. And if you had a card, all you had to do was go in there and you could buy whatever you want. Grandpa, tell us about the free samples. Oh, man. They would take some food and cut it up into little squares, and they stick these little toothpicks in them, and you could eat them for free. No way, Grandpa. You can eat them for free? Yeah, free. I've seen people stand there and eat 5 or 6 of them in a row, like pigs. Free food. And then on the way out, they had a food court, and this whole area was just dedicated to food, covered with cheese, stuffed with cheese, chicken bakes, hot dogs, pizzas, and a drink for $1.50. Grandpa, $1.50? Yep. And they were open all day long, and you can go in there whenever they were open, and if you had the money, you could buy whatever you wanted. Grandpa, how did you see? Well, there was electricity, and whenever you turn on the light, no matter what time of day, the lights would just come on, and your TV would just come on, and you open your fridge, and there was a light in your refrigerator, and it was just electricity. It just was. It always worked. Wow, Grandpa, that sounds cool. But then he got in office. Yeah, the old man got in office. We can't have you near him because he'll sniff your head. But he's the reason that those times don't exist anymore. Because if you notice, if you talk to, let's say, our grandparents, they're going to tell you a time of the Depression and World War II. And our parents, like my mom, she would tell me about penny candy when she grew up in Baltimore, and she'd get a quarter and be gone all day watching movies, eating candy and shit. And then my parents would tell their grandkids, my kids, about, my stepdad would tell them about surfing here in Monterey and scuba diving, all the fun shit he used to do. If you notice, times get easier as they go on. But I don't know if we're going to have easy times to tell them about, because the shit is hitting the fan by the handful. I couldn't believe that shit. He said yes and yes. If you don't get this, you should lose your livelihood and make your neighborhoods less safe. Let that shit sink in. And while you do that, I'm going to get over here with my beautiful wife and kids. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to jerichogreen.net. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.